Hello, 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 guys. Just wanted to check in with a game that is not new, but it is new to me, and it's been popping up on my feed for a while now, and I figured I'd check it out. And kind of fun. I liked it, so I figured I'd throw it on here just to kind of check in with everybody and what have you. If you grew up playing in sandboxes with Tonka toys, you the old metal, trucks and dozers and all of that stuff, then this game may very well be right up your alley. It's called Out of Ore. We're going to go ahead and get tucked into it, and then I will kind of tell you about what the game is that I know of the game so far and what have you, and kind of catch you up on what the hell I've been up to. All right, so first thing we're going to do is I set up a company, all right, and we'll look at the company here, maybe. Why are we not? Company. Okay, there we go. So I called it Money Pit. We're going to start out on level one. Once we get into the game, it'll determine how much money we have and what have you. But anyway, we're going to call it Money Pit for the fun of it. Okay, so single player game. Create new game, and basically it's a mining sim. You get to drive around a bunch of mining equipment. So there's several different places you can play. Scandinavia is one of the newer maps. Minetown, Coal Town, Forest, Quarry, I think are all the older ones. Forest Hill, I think, is also a newer one. And the difference is, A, the territory, and B, the older maps, the ore deposits were not random. They were always where they were every time you play the game, apparently, from what I understand. The Scandinavia map and the Forest map, the Forest Mountain map, whatever it is, Forest Hills, those two, I believe, are random. We're going to go ahead and grab, I think we're going to do Scandinavia. It's got a lot of trees, and I want the trees, and we'll see why in a minute. So you got hardcore, creative, standard, which determines a lot of your other settings. With hardcore, you get a lot less money. Your interest rate is high and things like that because you can take out loans from the bank and things like that. We're going to go standard. But I think, okay, so there's not one between 100,000 and 400,000. And then there's million and infinite. I don't know that I want to start that low, but I don't want to start in the millions. I think we'll just do the standard, 400,000. It's more money than we're going to need, and you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. But we're going to go ahead and get started on this. Outdoor save for 7. Are you sure you want to start? Yes. Looks like my mouse is not lining up with the buttons a little bit. Is what the problem is. So anyway, yeah. If you've ever played with those big metal trucks in a sandbox, then this game might be for you. So we're going to go ahead and right off the bat, we're going to switch over to our axe. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the map. Now this here is the size of the map that you get to work on. I mean, it is absolutely huge. There's mountains, there's like hills, things like that, and basically it dumps you in the middle of nowhere, and that's where you get to start from. So, unfortunately, I wish there was a topo map, but there is not a topo map. You can kind of sort of see where the hills are, but not real well. I would like to have a topo map in this game. Now, mind you, this game is, I don't know whether it's early access or just new-ish. I do know that it's a very small dev team working on it. There's only a couple of people in the dev team, apparently. But they are very active, from what I understand, when it comes to updates and things like that. They just came out with an update, I guess, is why I'm suddenly seeing it. What I'm looking for, I'm grabbing trees because we're going to need the tree. We're going to need the wood. But what I'm looking for is a space that's relatively flat. In the Scandinavian map, flat is kind of relative. Everything is hilly. Now there are some of the maps that are already flattened out and already have like mining pits in them and things like that. But this looks relatively flat. Now some of these trees, these smaller ones, some of them you cut down, some of them you can't. These really small trees, you can't cut them down. But they will grow. And they will grow into bigger trees. So eventually we'll have bigger trees. I think it looks like this area right here seems to be, other than the little bunny slopes, seems to be relatively level. It's not going to be perfectly level, but it is going to be level enough for us to get started. So let me grab some of these trees. I'm grabbing some of these trees. Let's discuss what this game is. Basically, you get loaders, and you get digger shovels, and you get the big mine trucks, and you can mine above ground and you can mine underground, and there's a bunch of different ores that you can find, and you can make yourselves basically a giant quarry, and you get to play with a bunch of different trucks. Now, when I first checked this game out, I did it with a keyboard and a mouse, and I can't drive well in games anyway, but it made it really kind of tough to do it with the keyboard and mouse. So I pulled out my joysticks and I set up a dual stick system. I didn't go crazy on programming. Okay, there's two trees there. Every control, I've programmed the control for the digger, or not the digger, the well, you'll see. I forget what they call it. You'll see in a minute. But I programmed the controls for the one that I use, so that I can use my sticks. And as I get more advanced and I start learning how to drive the trucks and stuff, there's dozers in the game, there's graders in the game, and when I start to work on those, I will program them into the controls for the sticks as well. But for right now, I just have the ones that I need in. So I'm just grabbing some trees here real quick, and then we'll get started. And that should be how many we got? We got 106. That should give us a fairly clear area for the most part to get started in. Now, I don't know that I'm going to do this as a series. I'm just kind of checking in with you guys and whatnot. I might do this as a series. I might not. If you guys are interested in me doing this as a series, say something. The other thing is, this is both a single player and a multiplayer game. It's on Steam. It looks like it is. I mean, you can do it one player, but it's kind of more geared toward multiplayer because, you need truck drivers, you need shovel operators, you need what have you, and you can do it. You've got to jump from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle, or you can set up like a conveyor system in your mine and do it that way. But I suspect it's probably a bit more fun with multiple players. All right, that looks like all of the cuttable trees in this particular area. So we're gonna I think set up shop here. I'm gonna get the stumps out of the way. This is not the best spot, but I'm not gonna spend forever looking for a good spot. So let's look at what we got here. First thing we want to do. Well, let's see if we can cut that tree down. Yeah, we can, and cut that down. Okay, let's stop stop farting around with the trees. All right, so let's go to the store. We hit I for inventory, and it's going to bring up our little data thing and what have you. And we can look at how many players we've got, which is just me. We can look at what vehicles we have, which we don't have any yet. We can look at quests, which are going to give us experience for mining different things and delivering different amounts. Text chat, there's a wiki. Periodic table will let you, there's 21 available discoverable elements. There's a total of 118 on the chart, but only 21 of them you can find. Coal, nitrogen, blah, 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 all of these, it looks like. Apparently you can do helium, hydrogen and stuff. Maybe, I've not seen those ones yet. And then you got a skill tree that as you earn points, now we leveled up 1 level, so now we've got 5 points, which means we can start the skill tree. And as soon as you click it, it's spent. So don't go clicking stuff that you're not sure you want to have. Just hover over it and it'll tell you what it does. I'm going to click the increased run speed because that's going to take us down into these ones, which is, as we get a little further on, we definitely want those benefits. There are rewards and vendors and run speed and production speed. Okay? So, you've seen the map. So this is where we're going to start, okay? And there's SOS rescue location, and rescue me is if you get trapped somewhere or whatever your way, this will bring you back to there, okay? There's the bank, and the bank will let you take out loans. And when you take out a loan, you have to pay back the interest and things like that. And you have a debt limit, and its interest is your interest payment's 7%, and it's per minute. So it can get expensive. Okay. And then you have, what's this? Economy. Okay, so this looks like this shows your expenses and your profits and your income and stuff like that for anybody who wants to get that into it. And then there's the store. And in the store, you can buy vehicles. If you click over it, so they're bucket loaders. That's the word I was looking for before. I think is they're loaders. Okay, so you've got trucks that you can get to haul the stuff. You can get scoops. You can get bucket loaders. You can get asphalt rollers and regular rollers to smooth out the ground. You can get excavators. They just added, and this is where the update came in, they just added these baggers, which are those big wheeled excavators that you see in the big mines. And then there's dozers and more shovels and more shovels and more shovels and graders. Drone lets you look around the area. You can fly the drone around, and I believe you can fly it underground, which is weird, but it lets you see what's available. And then there is underground mining equipment, so you can get underground and mine underground. What is this with this? Dumpers. Okay, so it's a grain hauler and transport. Okay. And then you can get add-ons to your vehicles. You can get regular standard trucks, so you can go from site to site because you may have multiple sites, especially if you're playing with more than one person. Then you have various buildings, and these are there. I have the DLC for this. The DLC was like $6. The game was $25, and the DLC was $6. And the DLC has a lot of beauty items with it that are really, they're not necessary for the game, but they're sort of pretty. And then you got stuff that's not part of the DLC. You got concrete blocks and stuff that you can make so that you can flatten your roads, and you can make ramps and things like that, and you can build buildings. I've seen people on the videos build these humongous buildings for all of their production. Fuel station will let you fuel your vehicles. You can actually buy the minerals and use theirs. There's oil in the game, which apparently is a moneymaker. It's a little overpowered. Maybe it's broken. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. And you know, just a lot of different items that are in here. You know, construction panels, trees, even different things. Workbench is one of the first things we're going to buy. We're going to buy a workbench. So if I just click on, there we go. Should be able to do it there, but like I say, the mouse doesn't seem to be lining up. So we want a workbench, okay? And then this is broken down by type. We already kind of looked through them. Factory is production, conveyors, power, and pipeline. There is water in the game. Some, like the washers are, the sluices and stuff are more efficient with water attached. So it kind of behooves you to get water. So let's go through. The first thing we're going to want is we're going to want a big hopper so that we can dump our stuff into it. So we're going to want a hopper. And then we're going to want something to run all of our equipment, which power. We're going to need a input. What they call it a power input. It's basically a transformer on a motor that hooks onto the end of your conveyor and runs your conveyor at certain speeds. Now, the slowest one is a times 1. The fastest one is a times 5. I believe there's a times 10. We're just going to get started here. So, and I've got the money. I'm going to buy a times 2. We probably don't need a times 2. We could probably get away with just the times 1, but we got the extra money that I didn't necessarily plan to. Where is the? Yeah, see, my mouse isn't lining up right. We'll deal with it. If it becomes an issue, it becomes an issue. Okay, so then we're going to need power. Now, they have wind turbines, they have solar, and they have gas generators. Or they have coal plants and they have gas generators, basically, or fuel generators. Each one of them has their limitations on how much they can produce. You also have power poles. And with the power poles have a limit to how much power will go through them. If you overload them, they will explode. So if you're using a 3600 kilowatt pole and you try to put 600, or if you're using a 600 kilowatt and you try to put 3600 kilowatt through it, it will go boom. All right. Now we're gonna, in our initial setup, we're gonna avoid the poles, just because we won't need them. But we're going to grab 2 power cables just in case. So let's see. We've got our hopper. We got our power input. We need something to produce power. I'm going to grab, because we've got the money, I'm going to grab the medium one. All right. So that gives us that. Now we need to do something with our ores. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it from our hopper and we're going to go up with it, because the next thing we want has an input that goes up. I think we're going to do an 8x4, and we're going to grab a couple of these because we're going to need them. And then we're going to grab a couple of straights. We're going to grab the 4s. Let's grab 3. We're going to grab 2 left turns. There's 1, 2, and we're going to grab 3 storage containers, because I'm basically grabbing the things I know I already want. There's elevators, and then there's ramp ups and ramps down. Now, don't grab a ramp down thinking it's a ramp up. They're 2 totally different things. Okay? So we got that, we got conveyors, we want production. And now we're going to grab, we're We're going to grab a trommel. And if you click on these, it tells you what it does. Used to sort dirt, pay dirt, and gravel. Okay, so anything comes in, all of the ores come out one side, and then dirt and pay dirt come out the other side. Okay? So, let's grab a trommel. And then back to production. We want a coal shaker. A coal screen. Yep, that's the one. We want a coal screen because we want to separate the coal out. And what the coal screen does, takes everything in. It's going to separate the coal out and pass everything else through. Okay, so everything else is going to come out of it. Back to production. The trommel is going to take any material in, shove the dirt out the back, shove everything else out the front. Okay, so that's, we want to separate out the dirt. Then do we want the wash plant or do we want the sluice box? One of them keeps everything internal to it. The sluice box keeps everything in it, passes the dirt, takes the pay dirt in. The wash plant, pay dirt out, sends everything else out as individual separated items. We don't want this one. We want this one, because that way I can grab the stuff out of it. Okay? So we're going to come in the hopper. We're going to screen out the coal. And then we're going to go in the trommel and then into the sluice and then into storage. I think that's all of those that we want. Okay. And then, since we have the money, we're going to grab, under equipment, we're going to grab hand tools. The pickaxe that we have is really slow. So we're going to grab a fast pickaxe, a fast shovel. We got the money. We're gonna get a fast sledgehammer too. Okay, so we're gonna, and this is these first two rows are your hotkeys. So we're gonna put the pickaxe up, the fast pickaxe up there, the fast shovel up there, and the fast sledgehammer up there. All right, we're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna move it down here because it's in our way. Move these two over. First thing we're going to want to set up, we're going to set up a workbench. Then we're going to want our hopper, our power to it, and that. And then we'll come back to the other ones. Okay? So there's that. And then we're going to get our vehicle. And the first thing we're going to want is, if we click on these, we've got a choice of 3 different loaders. And if you look, it tells you what the condition is, how much the loader weighs, what its capacity in cubic yards is. You can set this for either metric or standard. I've got it set for standard. The only thing that doesn't change over is the fuel. For some reason, all of these will change from metric to standard, except for your fuel. It still stays at liters. I don't know why it doesn't go to gallons an hour or anything else, but it doesn't. Anyway, so that's 9.5 yards. This one is 8.5 yards. And this one is 9.5 yards. So we got this one, and that one's 8.5. So one of the only this one is the 9.5 yards. We are going to take the 9.5 yard ones. It's bigger. Might as well take it. It's not as expensive as this one. This one I think has more power. 205, 13 liters, 8.5 yards. No, this one's got more power, but it uses a lot more fuel. Therein lies the difference. But we're going to take the big one. I feel like we can afford it. We'll pay on the fuel. We could take the smaller ones, but we move less, but with less money, but more efficiency than this one. This one's probably, yeah, 27 liters an hour or 13 liters an hour. The difference be these both haul the same amount. The difference being the efficiency. Okay, we're going to take the big puppy. Just I want to move more stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start getting set up here. So let's find a spot that is sort of relatively flat. Yeah, we got some more skill points. Okay. This straight this way looks like it is sort of flat. Now, there are 3 ways you can build in this game. You can build snap build, you can build grid build, or you can build free build. Snap free build will let you put it wherever you want to put it, and you can turn it any which way you want to have it turned. If you saw see that red arrow, that's the direction of the flow of your materials along the belt, so that it tells you which direction your belt's going to be moving. Snap build lets you snap to all the other pieces. Grid build lets you build on an east, west, north, south grid. I think it's east, west, north, south. It may not be, but I believe it is. I'm going to do it on grid build because the reason I'm doing it on grid build is anywhere on this map, if you do in grid build and you build all the way back to here, eventually it will line up. So it will actually line up to this piece if I built halfway across the map. Now, the only thing I don't like about grid build here is I want it to go straight this way, and it's not going to let me do that. I'm going to have to do here. All right, so let's go over here and come the other way with it. Let's go that way with it. And we're going to start right here, right? And that's going to be our approach, and we're going to come up here with our loader and dump into there, okay? So then we're going to go, now this is where snap comes in. This will, no, that's free build, snap build. See, it'll automatically snap right where it's got to go, and that's where the connection for this thing is. Now, one of the things, if you notice, is this is kind of buried under the ground. If you go too deep and these conveyors have dirt sticking out of them, they don't function right. The way you pick something back up is with the sledgehammer. It doesn't get rid of it, it goes back in your inventory. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put the bench down first. And just put the bench down over here. All right. We're going to open the workbench, and I'm going to put those trees that I grabbed in the workbench. Okay. And I am going to tell it to make, let's start with, this is going to be a pain in the ass, isn't it? All right, 20. I don't know why it's not lining up correctly, but it's not. We're going to do 20 wood beams, and we're going to do 20 wood planks. And then we want floor. Now, I can't do the floor material. I can't yet because I don't have the materials for it. It will let you queue things that you already have supplies for. So I already have logs, so I can make the planks and I can make the beams. But I can't make the wood floors because of the fact that I don't have any. All right. So in the meantime, we're going to go and we're going to try and get back here to the grid build. And if you'll notice, I'm now above ground. What I was going to do, and it's got some pretty neat weather effects and stuff in the game. Okay, so that's started. What I wanted to do is I was going to dig that out and lay down some flooring. We'll worry about that in a minute. All right, so we got that. We want our power. So we're going to hook up our power, and then we're going to hook up our electric. And I'm just going to put it somewhere close by. Now this is what I was talking about. If I put this down here, notice it's hovering off the ground. It does not care. The game doesn't care. Visually, I care. I don't like the fact that it's hovering off the ground. Okay? So, the other option is to build it on the ground, which means I have to go down, I have to dig down some, and then it'll bury it, which I don't necessarily want to bury it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set it up there for now because I'm working on the plates, or working on the flooring. So then we go, and if I grab a wire, notice that it'll automatically snap to wherever it is. And that doesn't matter which mode I'm on, the wires will automatically snap. So if I go from here straight to here, I don't need to have a pole. It's going to power it right over, okay? So we're going to come to the other side, and we're going to grab our first up, and we're going to hook it in, and that's going to come up, okay? Now let's rearrange our inventory here, because we're going to want the ups, we're going to want the straights, we're going to want the left and rights. We don't care about the power cable now because we've already got it. Coal screen, sluice box, trommel. Alright? And yeah, I think we're okay for now. I'm not going to worry about the shovel and stuff. Okay, so we've come up one, right? So now we want to go, I want to go with a straight. And the reason I want to go with a straight is to give myself some room to work underneath of this, because we're going to come back out of this. And we're going to grab the coal screen. And I'm taking the coal screen first because that's going to take just the coal out of our tailing, or out of our mining, okay? And we're going to grab a left. We're going to put a left under here. Now you notice, even though I'm on grid build, it's going to snap to where the nearest connector is, okay? So, with the coal screen, it's going to take in all of the stuff. It's going to screen out the coal. The coal's going to come out and go left. Everything else is going to go forwards. So then we're going to go and we're going to grab another up. We're going to go up again. We're going to go straight again. I could have probably gotten away with a single instead of a double, but I used a double. Then we're going to go trommel. And see, this is where what I'm saying, it doesn't care. That looks funky as hell to me, though. I don't know that I like that, but that's the way it is. All right, and then we're going to go with another left. And then we're going to come around the other side here. And on this left, we're going to take our sluice box. And we're going to hook that up. All right, so what's going to come in here is all the stuff that the trommel will not pass, or will pass rather, or whatever. Anyway, yeah. Been a while since I've been doing this, guys, so my talking is not what my talking used to be. All right, so any material is going to come in. Dirt and pay dirt are going to come out one side, okay? And then any coal, blasted rock, blah, 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 copper ore that we put in, if we find a patch of just copper ore or just iron ore, that ore going in is going to pass out. On the other direction, we're going to get dirt and we're going to get pay dirt. Now, pay dirt is going to be sifted and then give us some of these again. So we want to sift that stuff. So that's going to go into our sluice box, and our sluice box will gather up all of the stuff, the ores and stuff. It's like panning for gold. All right, so then we're going to go, let's go ahead and move our storages up here now because we can hook them up. So we're going to hook up a storage to the bottom of to the end of this. All right, we're going to hook up a storage to the end of this in case, not that we're going to have anything coming out of here yet. And we're going to hook up a storage at the left that comes out of our coal chute, or our coal shaker. Is that tree big enough to get rid of? Yes, it is. All right. So, storage bin. All right. There we go. So now we have a whole line set up. Our raw stuff's going to come in here, come up, go into our coal shaker. The coal's going to come out and get stored. We could then use that to either sell it or put it into a power plant and run a power plant. And then everything else is going to come out, come up here. It's going to sort out our pay dirt, and our pay dirt and our dirt's going to come out here and come through here. Now the pay dirt is going to turn into all of the ores and stuff, and we'll be left with dirt. And the dirt's going to come out and go into our storage, and this is going to hold all of our all of our ores. Anything that we pick up like as a raw ore will come down, come through here, and get stored in the storage here. Now, like I say, that looks stupid as hell to me, but it works. What we can do, if you really want to be visually fancy about it, if you will, or whatever, where did our workbench go? Where did we put it down? We put it down someplace over here. What did I do with my workbench? Anybody see it? We put it someplace out of the way. And of course, with things that I put out of the way are always an issue of me finding what the hell I did with them. All right, let's go to map. If we zoom in far enough, maybe we can see it on the map. I know I put it down somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's on the other. It's on the other side of all of our stuff. All right. So it's over here. There it is. We will move that to someplace where we want it to do what we want it to do. So now you can do these wooden blocks. We'll do. Let's do. Let's do 10 of those. And we'll do. Okay, so we're out of the beams. Let's do 20 beams, and then we'll be able to do the floors. All right, so the wooden blocks are basically like dunnage, so they stack tall, whereas the floor pieces stack flat. All right, so we got all of that set up. Let us go ahead and, while we're waiting on that, move this stuff all down here. Move that up. Oh, one more thing let's buy from the store. Let's get STOR, a storage container. Because with a storage container, and if we're coming in that side, let's put it here. I can put all of my stuff that I'm not using in my storage container, and I'm holding control and clicking. Okay. So let's go back to our workbench, see where we stand with that stuff. All right, we're going to let it go ahead and do its thing. So let's do the fun part now. We are going to spawn in our vehicle. And if we look up, they're going to helicopter it in and put it down for us. There we go. And there is our loader. And we're going to start. We're just going to go pick that hill up. Enter the vehicle. And now I'm going to get off the keyboard and get on the mouse. I've got my mouse set up, or not my mouse, but my sticks set up so I can look around with my, with the hat on the top of one of my joysticks. I've got one of my sticks set up. My right hand stick is set up to raise and lower the bucket. The hat on the right hand stick is set to tilt up and down on the bucket. Oh, and then my left hand stick is left, right, back, front, and the mouse. One more thing we want to put on this thing that I did not grab. Store. GPS. We want a GPS. Now I can't put it on my vehicle unless I'm in my vehicle. When I'm in my vehicle and I open the inventory, it's the inventory of the vehicle. Parts do wear out, by the way. If you look, everything here says condition 90%. These will wear out with time, so you have to replace them, which costs money. So be nice to your equipment. All right, we're going to take this GPS receiver, and since it's just me, screw OSHA, we're going to put it where the LED, where the LED beacon is. We don't need the flashy because it's just me working here, and I don't care about OSHA. But what this is going to do is, if you look up in the top right, now I have an indicator that tells me the position of my bucket. It tells me whether it's tilted or not tilted, and it tells me whether I'm on a slope relative to level, right? So we can go around and we can go looking for things now that we can pick up. And I am going to, you know what, let's get out. Let's go cut these trees down and get them out of our way. And we might as well harvest the trees and not waste the wood. But I'm taking these trees down because they're on this hill. Dirt, you can sell dirt, but it does not give you much money, and it does not give you any ores. So dirt is kind of a waste material. You're looking for either pay dirt or you're looking for ores. Specifically, specific types of ores. And there are ways to tell on the map and on the ground where they are. You look for dark patches in the dirt, and it will tell you that there's some kind of ore potentially below it. There we go, good enough. Because I'm after this hill. I don't think I can take this one. No, didn't think so. I'm after this hill. We're going to start cutting into this hill. Okay? And while we're cutting into this hill, I'll tell you what I've been up to. All right, there we go. So now we just basically are going to, let me get lined up here where I want to be. All right. And we're going to just start chopping away at this hill. So I'm going to come down with my bucket. And I'm going to start fairly level. And we're just going to start picking up. And if you see on the bottom right, you'll see how full my bucket is. See, I'm overloaded. You don't want to necessarily overload your vehicle because it uses up your maintenance. You'll see I've got speed, I've got fuel, what have you, and then we're just gonna start filling her up and hauling her over. Now, these things are top heavy if you've got your load raised. So when you drive, you want your load down, just like, in a normal one. One of the things I am going to do, because there's that mound there, we're going to get out and we're going to take care of that mound. If I go to my shovel, right, I can beat the hell out of this dirt and level it. And it'll level hills down and it'll bring holes up. So we're going to level this out some so that I'm not like tipping my vehicle over, what have you. Okay? And that's basically the beginning of the game. And you just mine. It becomes very Zen-like. So anyway, now that we've kind of covered the basics of that, and oops, let's not run over our workbench. Eventually, I will put a floor down here so that I'm working off of level ground, and there was where we started. So we'll come back down here. So anyway, this is the game, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of, like I say, it's kind of Zen-like. So what have I been up to? Because I have not been on the tubes for a little while now. Well, at least on this channel. I am on my other channel a bit. Was on my other channel for a bit. I haven't been on there for a little bit either because I've been kind of busy. A couple of things been going on in my life. I finally got my VA stuff figured out, and I found a doctor finally. And I may have touched on this some. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've been on. But in January, I finally found a doctor. Went to my appointment, and it wasn't great news. It wasn't bad news. Obviously, I'm overweight. I knew I was overweight, and that's caught up to me and what have you. I was basically diagnosed as hypertension and pre-diabetic and high cholesterol and things like that. So, had to do something about that stuff. So, started out on a diet regimen, what have you, and that was doing okay, but wasn't making a ton of progress on it. They put me on 2 high blood pressure meds. Well, they put me on a high blood pressure med and they put me on a fluid med. And those helped with my blood pressure some. And then I made a bunch of different appointments for other things. I've got circulation problems in my legs apparently. Went and saw a cardio specialist for that. And they ultrasound and MRI'd my legs. And there's some blockage there. They don't know what it is. And they don't know why it's being weird, but it's being weird. But they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any blockages. They couldn't find anything else. So they basically decided, well, I'm just got weird circulation. There wasn't much they could do about it. And, we're just monitoring it from there. But it's caused me some leg issues. But anyway, so there's that. And I got a few other things taken care of. In April, I still wasn't making as much progress as we would have liked, as I would have liked anyway, on my weight and things like that, and on my blood pressure. So I talked to the doctor, and I ended up being able to figure out the requirements from the VA, and I was able to get approved for Wegovy through the VA. So the VA is paying for it. So I started on Wegovy in April, and I made some major diet changes. Anybody that knows me knows that I am a Mountain Dew addict, or was a Mountain Dew addict. I was probably drinking, 3, 4 at least a day, every day. And when I got on the Wegovy and what have you, I quit cold turkey. And in the first week of being on Wegovy and having quit soda completely, I lost 10 pounds. And I've been on the Wegovy ever since. Titrated up to, I'm just below the top level. I have not had to go to the top level. I'm still seeing a lot of good progress on the lower levels. So we're waiting to titrate up. I'm not going to, unless I have to. So, progress with that. That was April. By June, by June, I was off of the fluid meds. I didn't need the fluid meds to help with maintaining my blood pressure at that point. So they took me off the fluid med. I was still on the blood pressure medication. In August, I had a medical incident here at the house where I was just doing some stuff in the kitchen or something, and all of a sudden I felt really, really dizzy and almost blacked out and whatnot. And I checked my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was under 100. And I went and laid down and didn't take my blood pressure medication for the day and what have you, and monitored it for a couple of days and did not take my blood pressure medicine, and it leveled out, to normal. So in August, they took me off of the blood pressure meds. So at this point, I am completely off blood pressure meds. I'm off of the fluid pill, I'm off of the blood pressure med, and that all has to do with the weight loss and what have you, that the Wegovy has helped with. Basically, Wegovy is an appetite suppressant and a digestion suppressant, if you will. It slows down your metabolism, and it slows down how fast you process food. So you stay full like all the time. What would normally take, like a day to pass, takes 2 or 3 days. So you're always full. So you're not eating the way you used to. And basically, between that and I started started walking again, and I started lifting and things like that again. And at this point, I am down 50 pounds from when I started. I am off all of my medication except for a statin for my cholesterol. Last month, I went in and did a CBC, and my A1C is now no longer pre-diabetic. I am no longer pre-diabetic. I am now normal. My blood pressure is now normal. All but one of my cholesterol markers are all normal. My triglycerides have gone from 300 to like 110, 120. So that's like all normal. The only thing that is still not normal is my HDL is still low. I'm working on that, but it is improved. So everything is going in the right direction, and everything is improved. And at the beginning of this month, I did, for the first time in 25 years or more, I did a 5K. I did not run the whole thing. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on, working through the issues with my knees and stuff like that. The weight loss has helped with some of that, but I will always, because of, my injuries from the Army and stuff like that, I will always have issues. I have arthritis in my knees now and whatnot, and that's the way that goes. But I did a 5K. Not only did I do a 5K, but I did 14-minute miles in the 5K. 14 minute, 20-second, something like that, average for miles for the 5K. I did not, obviously I didn't come in first. I didn't come in last either. I came in 6 out of 10 in my age group, the 60 to 70 age group, and 70th out of 90 overall. But considering a year ago I was having problems even walking because of my knees and stuff, I'm going to take that as a win. So that's where I've been on that. I may have mentioned, although I think it's on my other channel, that one of the things I did with all of this is I set up an AI that helps me to track all of that. It is kind of my fitness coach and my diet coach and things like that. One of the things with Wegovy, you have to take in a bunch more protein than normal. Wegovy slows you down your eating. You can't eat as much, so you're not taking in as many calories, but at the same time, because you're not taking in as many calories, you have to up your protein and you have to up your exercise and your strength training so that you don't lose muscle, because one of the big things that happens with Wegovy and stuff is you can lose muscle. And with being 62, almost 62, I'll be 62 in March, you also lose muscle there, as you get older. So you're fighting a battle of, I can only take in so much, but I also have to take in X amount of protein. And right now, the doctor wants me taking in 100 grams a day of protein. But because of the Wegovy, I'm lucky to be able to eat a chicken breast in a sitting. Whereas before, I could probably eat 4 pounds of pasta, 3 pounds of pasta, whatever. Now, I'm lucky to eat a chicken breast. I'm stuffed. So it's hard to maintain the protein levels while at the same time, not being able to take as much in. So one of the things with this AI that I've done is it's helping me with meal planning and recipes and things like that. It is helping me to design my lifting program so that as I improve, as things get better, I'm able to change what I'm doing so that I'm continually improving. Same thing goes with the cardio. I started out a mile kicked my ass. Now I'm up to 4 or 5 miles 3 days a week, and I'm probably going to be increasing that. Well, we'll see what the winter brings and what have you. But anyway, that's where that stands. So I've been up to that. And the other thing I've been up to is I bought something kind of, I don't know, as a reward for this and kind of just because and what have you. I bought something I've been wanting for a long, long time, and I finally bought it. I bought myself a freeze dryer. It was not cheap, but I've been learning how to use it, learning to do stuff with it, and since about August, and that has been keeping me busy with processing food and what have you. My goal is basically I want to put away about a year's worth of pre-made food, in case I live in an area where the power goes out sometimes, and it has gone out for a week or more at a time. Also, I'm getting older, and as I get older, I'm finding that maybe some days I don't want to cook, or I'm not in a frame of mind to cook or whatever. By having meals that are already made, that all I got to do is heat up some water, throw some water in it, and I've actually got a meal. Versus, eating some kind of shit food, which is what was happening before. If I don't want to cook, I'll grab a Pop-Tart kind of thing, which did not help my diet. Now I've got stuff that's made. So I've been doing a lot of that. So that has all been keeping me very busy. which is why I really haven't been doing a lot of this. I still play games. I'm still farting around with things like this and stuff, but I just don't have the time to record now. Okay, so we cleared out that area, and you can see there's a difference in the dirt here versus here versus up there. And you can see there's a difference between this dirt and this dirt. This, if we take and we pickaxe it, you can see next to the logs, it is dirt. If we pickaxe this, you'll see it says pay dirt. And if you click, and if we do this one, this is coal. And now that's the first time I've found coal, so now I have coal. And then as we find iron ore or what have you, we'll get all that. So let me go over here, and we're going to dump this stuff in the bin. And if we open the bin, we can left click and control, and it'll go into the bin, and then I can hit consume, and it'll run it through the bin. Oh, we haven't turned our electricity on yet. Duh. All right, so we got to turn our electricity on. All right, we have a 500 kilowatt capacity, and we turn this on, and it's not coming on. And it's not coming on because I suspect we need more than that. So let's do this. We have the money. Let's get rid of this, and let's go to the store, and we will buy power. We'll buy the biggest solar panel we can. All right, and let's put that one down. And then we'll grab our wire from there to there. When we turn this on, now we have 700 kilowatts. There we go. So we needed 536 kilowatts for all of that stuff, and we weren't making it. So it would not let us turn it on. But now that it's turned on, the stuff that was in here is now being processed out and being passed through. Okay? Because all this is a storage bin to dump stuff in. But that will go down here, and you see it's coming up our conveyor, and it's going into our coal shaker, and it should be coming out of our coal shaker. Yep, it's coming out of our coal shaker, going over here, and going into storage. So now we're storing coal. Okay? In addition to that, it's coming out this end, and it's going into our trommel. All right, our trommel's processing it, and it's sending out what it needs to send out. Now, we shouldn't be getting anything in here because we're not getting any ore. The only ore we're getting is coal, and we're already taking that out. But if we go here, now we have that pay dirt, right? So you got dirt that's passing through, and you got pay dirt. And the pay dirt is turning into gold ore, ruby ore, diamond ore, and silicone ore. So if we take these out, all right, and now suddenly I've discovered gold and I've discovered silicon. I can go over here, and we have not set one up yet. I'm going to just set it over here out of the way. If we go here, we go to our store, and we go to production. And we go to, all right, let's try this. SMEL. Ore smelter. These ones are part of the conveyor system. This one is an individual, set it up on its own. We're going to buy 2 of them. And then we're going to go equipment, and we're going to go, get rid of that, and go equipment. And we want a washer. Standalone washer. www.LMNOPQRSTUVW. Is it not? Okay. Wash. We want the small wash plant. And the reason we want the small wash plant is we're going to go ahead, take these out of here, put this here, so we can set them down. All right. So we'll put down a smelter. And again, like I say, these are floating, and I don't like them to float. So, and then this one's going to be underground because it basically it depends on where the level of the ground is versus the grid. So what I could do is I could come over here and I could dig down around this and make it and expose it. What I will eventually do is put floors in. But that'll work for now. So we got those two down, and let's set. Let's set our washer down somewhere. All right, let's set our washer down. So if we go over here, we go to our washer, and if we put in our ruby ore and our diamond ore, right, we can then turn around and we'll do 50. Not that there are 50, but if we put that in and we say, give me process 50 diamond, 50 rubies, it'll take the ore and start washing the ore, and eventually we will have diamonds. And if we go into here and we put our gold into one, and you can put gold and silicone into the same one and just process them in order, but I'm going to go ahead and it doesn't matter because we can only get as many as what we got. All right, so there's one. There's silicone in the other one, and again we will do that, and we'll do silicone, and you can see these are all of the ores that we can process with this, that we can get out of it. So now it'll start processing it, and it'll start giving us silicone. The dirt, on the other hand, is going to come over here. Let's get rid of this dirt and put it in here. Dirt does nothing for us. We have one of two options. We can either store it and sell it manually, or if we go into the store, there is a sell point, S-E-L, right? This sell point, it's 13,000. It's a pretty big item. But I can, if we take this out of here, I can get rid of this. I can actually put the sell point below this. You know what? Let's do something. Let us, production conveyors, let's do an up, let's do an up 6. And then let's do a straight 4. And then let's do a hopper or a chute. All right. So we're going to go up, straight, chute, sell point. All right. So now I can go with the up. I can go with the straight, and then I can turn around and put a sell point. Or where's the chute? Chute. Right? So now I've got a chute. It's going to fall straight down from the chute. And I can put a sell point near as I can tell. Right there. Nope. Missed it. All right. Let's move this tree. Let's move this tree. I don't think that tree will move. All right, sell point. Is that over it? That looks like that is over it almost. Let's come this way one. There we go. How's that look? Huh? Yeah, that's over top of it. No, it's not. I imagine there's a way to be able to see this better. Um, I am still learning. All right, there we go. That is relatively over top of that. That should go, yeah. All right, so now if I take that dirt and I put it back in here, right? It's going to run it through to where it's going to go, which is over to where we want it. I can, if I take half of it, which one is it? Yeah, shift and left click is half. All right. So if I take half of it, I can show you the two ways I can get rid of it. I can either sell it, go to the store, go to sell, and drag this over. I'm going to get 4,577. All right. Now I have heard, and I will look at the numbers later and see if this is 4,577 or whatever it is. Let's see if we take this out. If I go sell, how much is it going to give me for this? It's 4,577. Okay. But I'm not going to sell it that way. I'm going to sell it this way. I'm going to put it in here. And we're going to let it go through the system. And it will go through the system. And eventually, see, it'll come out, fall into the sell point. And it'll go away in the sell point. And it's got to process through. And then we'll see how much we got doing it that way and see if it's accurate. And of course, because it's just dirt, we won't get any more stuff out of it that I am aware of than what we've already gotten out of it. Yeah, so dirt is still passing through. We'll grab the coal, because we can do the same thing with the coal. We can have a sell point for the coal, but I want to store the coal, but I don't need to store the dirt. All right, so there we go. So with 63,733 is what we've got now. Let me see. Wasn't there economic? Let's see income. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't. Data will show after 2 days. Okay, so we won't see it for today. But I will go back and look at 63,733 and what it was beforehand to see how much we made there. But we can go ahead and put this stuff in here. Gold ore. Gold. Now, I've got 12 silicone, right? I can go and I can sell that silicone, and I'm get 437 for it. For 10 bars of it, I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm going to get 560, but that's for 10 bars, not 12 bars. So it's worth more to process it. Not a lot more, but enough more to make it worth doing it. Same thing goes with diamonds and rubies. If we go over here, diamond ore and ruby ore. So diamond ore, for 16 I can get 526. Ruby ore I get 907 for 27. If I go in here and I grab out my rubies and my diamonds and I say sell, I can get a lot more for the diamonds and a lot more for the rubies than what I'm going to get for the ore, right? So it behooves you, obviously, to do that. The thing is, it takes time. Now later on, there's ways to do this in the conveyor line that makes it a lot easier, or makes it a lot more valuable. So sell that, sell that, sell that, sell that. Okay. So there you go. This is the game. So if anyone is interested, I'm not going to do this as a series. I don't foresee this working as a series. Let's do floors. But if anybody is interested in playing this, I would be willing to set up a server, and we could play it as a server. Now see, this is where this dunnage comes in. I can turn around and make it sort of look the way it should look by putting down dunnage, and then it doesn't look so stupid. So I could put one here and then one on top of it. Well, actually here, and again, you don't lose them. They just go back in my inventory, right? So then it doesn't look so stupid, right? Doesn't look like it's hanging out in the middle of God's country. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't serve anything, but it looks less stupid. Now, the floor pieces, on the other hand, do make a difference, because you see how bumpy all of this crap is. When I'm trying to line my shovel up, now I got lucky and this is pretty flat, but if this was real bumpy, this would not be flat. It would be hard to get a good flat scoop. My loader would be tilting to the side and things like that. I can put down flooring and have the flooring be my reference guide, right? And this could be my reference guide to use as I mine. So all of this would be flat, and the level would be based off of this. It just makes it easier, and you can do this. I'm doing it with wood because I don't have to pay for it because I'm in the woods. But you can buy from the store. You can buy wood floor, or you can buy, oops, shit. Concrete blocks, and there's different kinds. There's polished, not polished, what have you. So you can buy concrete blocks, or you can make them. Once you hit solid stone, what they used to call, I guess, bedrock in the game, it's solid stone or blasted stone or something now. You can crush that, break it down into gravel, and turn it into cement, and then make those blocks. So anyway, this game, it's single player or it's multiplayer. Apparently it used to be up to 8 players. Now with the new update, I think you can have up to 16 players. It's in beta as far as that part of it goes. But if you guys are interested, if somebody is interested and they want to play together or something, leave a comment and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to get together, and maybe we'll set up a server. I'd be willing to host it on my computer, and we can go from there. I believe if you look down in the doobly-doo, my contact information is down there. You gotta ask for it, but it'll give you my email address that I've set up for YouTube, and we'll figure it out. If you guys want to play on a server, we can play on a server. We can all run a mining company, and we can drive trucks, and we can drive dozers and loaders and all kinds of stupid shit. Oh my. You can actually mine underground and stuff like that. There's a lot you can do with this game for as simple as it seems to be. So anyway, that's the deal. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I've been talking for a lot longer than I expected, just for an update. But there we go. All right, guys. I'll talk at you in a bit. See ya. Bye.